One of the first things I usually do in HAT is I run this report, most recent 100 service instances. But oftentimes I'm dealing with large orchestrations that may have 200 or 300 messages or whatever within a short 2 or 3 minute period. So what first thing I will do here is say show query, and notice this gives you basically a sort of an SQL command. And what I want to do is change that to some much bigger number, such as 5,000. And then basically I want to save it back to disk, but before you save it, you have to run it. So I'm going to run query, and now you see we actually, well, if I had more than 100 here, you'd see I have more than 100, but I don't think I have that many yet. Then you come up here and say save query as, and first of all, notice on the disk where it actually gets saved. It gets saved to Program Files, Microsoft BizTalk Server 2006, a subdirectory called Tracking, and then a further subdirectory called Queries. And then it says 100, well, then it has basically the name of the query that we opened. So rather than replacing the query that I originally opened, I'll actually make a new query and give it a new title here and click Save. Now we can hide the query. Then we can say Queries, and then here's my new report, most recent 5,000 service instances. And it looks like when I saved it, I actually had the query open. So I want to hide the query and then save it to the same name. Now when I run it, it doesn't automatically open the little query box. Now let's go to disk and take a quick look at that. So we're going to go to Microsoft BizTalk, and then we're going to go to Tracking, and then the directory called Queries. And you see here there's basically just a few files. They all have a TRQ suffix. And here's the one that I just saved. So let me resize this window. And it's actually an XML file, and embedded in that XML file is basically an SQL query. So right here is your query, and you can actually change the names of the fields that get displayed in the report as well. And then ending the query right here, it goes back to other miscellaneous XML, which I would suggest you don't change any of that. But anyway, there's some customization you can do here. And you could go look at the database, you could find out what other fields there are, and you could actually basically run this command from Query Analyzer as well. So if we just take the same command here, and let's hop over to, I don't have it open, SQL Server Management Studio, formerly called Query Analyzer. I can do a new query here, paste in that command. And before I run it, I'm going to have to put a use statement at the top. So it's either going to be use BizTalk message box. I'm kind of guessing which database it's actually using. It says error using the word with. That's strange. So it's having trouble actually in this comment. So we should get rid of that comment right there. Run it again. Okay, there's the problem with the with command. Right here, this fact that it says DTAV, I believe that's going to have to be the tracking database. So let me give you a quick overview of the databases here. You have BAM Archive, BAM Primary Import. Of course, those have to do with business activity monitoring. You have the management database, the message box database. Then you have the DTA, which is the tracking database. If you have human workflow installed, there's the HWS database, and then if you have rule engines installed, there's the rule engine database. So we need to set this to BizTalk DTADB, I believe. And I guess the next problem is that they do date conversion here, because all the dates are actually stored in a format of basically Greenwich Mean Time, and so you have to convert it to your local time. So just to make this a little bit easier for now, I'm going to take the time out, and we won't actually do the conversion here. It still doesn't like the with statement, so just to be quick, again, I'm going to take that off. There's some parentheses somewhere. Right there on the function. And right there as well. And last we have a query that we ran here. And you can see all the different data that's available. Or you could also just say here select star. And there's probably other columns that were there that you didn't see. So anyway, that gives you an idea of what HAT is doing behind the scenes.